This is the biggest dragon you can buy from GW. Excuse me, it's not a dragon, it's a worm, okay? Good, it's Smaug from Middle-earth strategy battle game. And here is my painting journey on this massive Forge World miniature. If you don't have any idea of the size of Smaug, here is a comparison with common miniatures like an Imperial Knight or Nagash on the day of unboxing. So, as I said, Smaug is made of Forge World resin, which is a great quality resin, but there is another issue. Back in the days, Forge World was good in terms of sculpting quality, but the minis were hard to build because of the junction. Smaug was released in December 2014. Building this kit was horrible. Even the heavy metal teams struggled with it. I'll show you later. So, for this kind of mini, you need a saw blade to free the model from the sprue. Some parts are really small and you need to be very careful not to lose a single one. These parts are from the back and at the end of the wings. Smaug will look terrible if he misses one of these parts. Once every parts are free from the sprue, you need to clean them. Forge World models are always greasy so that they are easier to unmold, just like the cake. Just for you, in French, unmold the cake means to go poo, and in general, a big poo. If you don't clean them, the paint will not adhere as it should. So it was time for a little bath for Smaug. You can use any kind of soap. I guess every soap removes the grease, right? Mine does. Once every part are clean, it's time for building. But as I mentioned earlier, Forge World PCs can be a nightmare to build. I used the chipped equivalent of Dremel to remove the excess of resin for the two parts to fit perfectly. It was a really tough task to do. At some point, I even painted one side, placed the two parts together to see where I needed to remove resin. It's a really good trick, you should take notes. Where there was still paint left after placing the parts together were the areas where I needed to remove more resin. I did everything I could, but I still needed to fill a lot of gaps with green stuff. I'm not a big fan of green stuff. I started to build the model using super glue. Building this giant dragon is a challenge in itself. Almost every junctions are bad. I can't decide if the worst part was the neck or the tail. But both took me so much time to glue. I didn't glue the wings to keep access to some areas that needed to be filled with resin. So I did some green stuff. I'm not really good with green stuff, but I managed to fill in the gaps and replicate as much as I could the skin texture of Smaug. I tried my best, but if you look closely at the finished model, you can clearly see where I put some green stuff. But I'm not ashamed because heavy metal had the same issues. If you look at the official picture of Smaug on the website of GW, you can clearly see here, and even here that I'm not the only one who struggled with the building. After really hard work on it, I built it entirely, but didn't glue it on its base. Here is what it's looking like alongside Rodigus or the Witch King of Angmar for size comparison. It was finally time for the painting. Priming this mini was problematic in a way I didn't expect. The airbrush station was too small. It was the first time I encountered this problem. It was a funny one. So I base coated him in red. Obviously, Smaug is entirely red, so a big base coat of Mephiston red was ideal. As you may already notice, every classic step on a mini this size is already a challenge. So once the base coat was done, I made a mix of darker red in a pot to be sure that I have enough of it. It was a mix of Abaddon Black and Mephiston Red, and I applied this mix from below and on some specific areas to accentuate the contrast. Once done, I moved on to the highlight with White Rider Red. I mostly followed the boxed art to place the highlight on Smaug. At this point, I had a big, beautiful, but very red dragon. So to break the monotony, I added some black lines on his tail, his back and on his neck. I did it with the airbrush because his size makes it ridiculous to use a brush. On the back I made bigger marks and on the wings I made some random dots and lines following approximately the box art. I love how it looks. Next, I moved onto the belly and base coated all the scales with laundry dust. I was careful on the transition areas between the scales and the skin. I finished the base coat with a brush later to ensure a smooth transition. And then the last big step with the airbrush was painting the back scales with dry art bark. Just like I did on the bottom scales, I finished most of the scales later with my brush. Once this last big step of airbrush was done, I started the brush step of painting every scales on Smaug with the dry art bark. It was a long base coating step, probably the longest base coat I've ever done, but it was cool in a way. After the base coat, it was time to edge highlight every scales angles. Oh my god, it was so long. In fact, Smaug in itself is not so hard to paint. Technically, I mean, but the biggest problem is his weight. As a Forge World miniature, you don't want it to touch anything, so you keep it in your hands, but he weighs 2.5 kilograms. So you can imagine that not shaking with this weight in the hands is already hard, but you also need to be aware of your environment. Smaug is more than 20 centimeters high and more than 30 centimeters long. I hit him many times, even broke some parts during the painting process. Managing all of this is the real challenge of painting Smaug. And once the first highlight was done, I had the brilliant idea to make a second one. Let's go! Why not, after all? Huh? Once the big highlight step was done, I moved onto the driver step of the belly using a sharp bones. I only did one highlight step here because this part is facing the ground. Smaug is almost finished. I only had the head left to paint at this point. I started by adding more black on some areas to not have a big red head. I used the airbrush to be quicker. Once done, I dry brush the head with White Rider Red. It's not because the model is big that the head shouldn't be a focal point. I also painted a few more details like the teeth, the eyes, and Smaug was done. Woohoo! But not his base. So let's paint the biggest base I ever painted. Obviously, for Smaug's base, I started with a base coat of gold. Smaug is so wealthy, oh my god! Then I applied a shade of Reclaimed Flesh shade with a big brush, size 6 of Raphael. I use the brush because the sculpture of the coins are tricky to access with an airbrush, so the brush seemed to be a better idea. Once dry, I dry brushed the entire base with Liberator Gold. And woohoo! The result is so shiny, I love it! Then I did the Dwarf City base coat in black, as well as the floor and the pillars. And then, with some contrast paints, I based all the details like the shields and the chest. It was a really cool base to paint. It's not every day that you do a base like this. I really enjoyed the process. Then I dry brushed the metal parts like axes, jugs and others with Tomhouse silver. And obviously, I did the arc install. Hidden in the center of the base is the masterpiece of the dwarf. I tried to make it shine as much as I could. And to finish, I draw some lines on the floor and pillars to simulate marble. And then the base was done. Then I glued Smaug to his base and it was one of my most stressful moments. After all, I only have $690 in my hands. Not a big deal. Everything is okay. And voila! Smaug is finished. It's time for an epic reveal. This mini was a big journey, but honestly, I loved it. Thanks for watching, please subscribe, bye!